An 80-year-old man is behind bars accused of killing his 78-year-old wife at a senior living facility. At 6:06 p.m. on Saturday the 5th of July, authorities responded to an apartment at 3310 North Leisure World Boulevard in Silver Spring, Maryland, after security at the complex initially contacted 911 about a person in cardiac arrest. When officers arrived, they entered the premises and located 78-year-old Beverly Fletcher in an office attached to the family room, with multiple stab wounds and possible blunt force trauma. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Police found a hammer across her neck and a bloody screwdriver and knife nearby in another room. An autopsy revealed Beverly died of multiple sharp force injuries, and the death was ruled a homicide. Police made contact with Beverly's husband and suspect, 80-year-old Vivian Nation, inside the apartment. He told authorities that he and his wife got into an argument about an issue with his doctor when the fight turned physical. He said he pushed Beverly to the ground, where she may have hit her head. He then got on top of her and pushed the hammer down against her throat using both of his hands. Authorities said that the couple had been married for 13 years. Vivian was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, and he remains held at the Montgomery County Jail with bond denied. A Florida man is behind bars following violent assaults on 2 women in Miami-Dade County. At around 10:30 a.m. on Thursday the 3rd of July, 41-year-old Daysnel Hernandez allegedly ambushed a woman who exited a vehicle in a parking lot in the area of 777 Northwest 72nd Avenue, striking her head with a rock. He then dragged her to a nearby underpass, where he held a screwdriver to her neck, covered her mouth and forced her to perform acts on him before raping her. The victim, fearing for her life, tried to escape, but was punched multiple times. The victim told investigators that Daysnel then ran away toward the parking lot, leaving her with multiple lacerations, abrasions and contusions throughout her body. The following day, Daysnel allegedly attacked a female employee at the Doral Inn and Suites at 1212 Northwest 82nd Avenue. Details of this assault remain undisclosed by Doral police. Daysnel was arrested for the hotel incident and reportedly confessed to the early assault after being read his Miranda rights. Daysnel faces charges of attempted second-degree murder, armed kidnapping, sexual battery with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and armed burglary. He's been held without bond at the Miami-Dade County Jail. A teenager is behind bars after allegedly fatally shooting his father. At around 12:30 a.m. on Saturday the 5th of July, authorities responded to a home at 225 Colonial Drive in Wilmington, North Carolina, on reports of shots fired. When officers arrived, they entered the premises and found the victim, Michael White, upstairs deceased with a gunshot wound. The suspect, 19-year-old Camden White, the victim's son, was arrested on scene without incident, and he was booked into the New Haven County Jail on a second-degree murder charge. On Monday the 7th of July, a judge set Camden's bond at $500,000, with conditions of house arrest and frequent drug screenings if released. In court, it was brought up that Camden was believed to be on LSD at the time of the murder, which the defense said was provided to him by his father. Camden's next court appearance is scheduled for the 24th of July. 46-year-old Wendy Tolbert is behind bars for allegedly stabbing her 3 children, killing her youngest and setting fire to their home. The incident occurred on the morning of Friday the 4th of July, at a residence at 3651 West Palmer Street in Chicago, Illinois. Wendy allegedly stabbed her 4-year-old son Jordan Walker to death and injured a 10-year-old son and 13-year-old daughter. At around 9 a.m., Chicago police responded to the home after receiving 911 calls reporting domestic violence. Officers arrived to find the home filling with smoke and Wendy covered in blood holding a knife and a burning paper towel. Wendy reportedly confessed to police that she attacked her children, stating that she believed they were possessed by the devil. She also claimed to have cancer and schizophrenia. Authorities said that Wendy used lighter fluid and rubbing alcohol to ignite 3 fires in the home. Wendy allegedly locked the doors and confiscated the children's cell phones prior to the incident. The 10-year-old boy was playing video games with Jordan asleep on a nearby couch when Wendy approached them from behind, holding a knife in one hand and a metal blade in the other. She then stabbed her 10-year-old son in the arm, causing him to flee to the basement. Jordan woke up during the attack and tried to run away. Wendy reportedly kicked him down the basement stairs before repeatedly stabbing him. Wendy then attacked her 13-year-old daughter, inflicting wounds to her face, chest and back. The 10-year-old and 13-year-old reached their bedrooms, where the girl called 911 to report that her mother was attacking her and her brothers. Police broke windows to enter the home and found Jordan and his sister unresponsive. All 3 children were transported to Stroger Hospital. Jordan, who suffered 36 stab wounds, was pronounced dead. The 13-year-old girl with multiple stab wounds underwent surgery and remains in a critical condition. The 10-year-old boy suffered an arm injury, was released from hospital that afternoon. Wendy was arrested and taken to Community First Medical Center for psychiatric evaluation. On Sunday the 6th of July, she was charged with 14 felony counts including first-degree murder, attempted murder, aggravated battery and arson. A judge ordered her to be held at the Cook County Jail pending trial. During the hearing, Wendy appeared distressed, repeatedly stating "this is a dream, this is not real," and sobbing as details were presented. Her public defender noted that she was unemployed, relying on food stamps and supplemental security income. Wendy's next court appearance is scheduled for Monday the 14th of July. A 35-year-old man is behind bars for fatally shooting his 51-year-old stepfather during a domestic dispute. At around midday on Saturday the 5th of July, authorities responded to a shooting call at a home in the 2800 block of Reese Road in Columbus, Georgia. Upon arrival, officers found 51-year-old Donnie Hand unresponsive under the carport with a gunshot wound to his neck, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. 35-year-old Christopher Popp, Donnie's stepson, was found seated near the body, with an assault rifle in a chair next to him. Christopher was arrested and charged with murder, and he was booked in the Muskogee County Jail. On Monday the 7th of July, Christopher appeared in court and pleaded not guilty to the charge. During the hearing, Christopher's sister Amber Phillips testified that Christopher had been struggling mentally and that she had attempted to get him help prior to the incident. Amber recounted an incident where Christopher was asked if he was a harm to himself or others, to which he responded "no, ha ha ha," with tears in his eyes, as if seeking help that went unheeded. The case was transferred to the Superior Court, and Christopher was ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation. No further details have been released. 43-year-old Jacob Ackerman is behind bars and is accused of fatally shooting his brother. At around 10:15 p.m. on Saturday the 5th of July, a relative of the victim contacted emergency services requesting a welfare check near M291 Highway and 210 Highway in Riverbend, Missouri. The caller reported that the Live 360 application showed no movement on the victim's phone for 7 hours, with the last known location near a pond. First responders arrived at the scene and found the victim laying on his back on the bank of the pond with a gunshot wound to the back of his head. At the scene, police described there being several miscellaneous items around the victim, including shoes, an alcoholic beverage, an electronic vaping cigarette, clothing items and a pocket knife, all of which were all collected as evidence, but no suspect was identified at the time. At around 3:15 a.m. on the 6th of July, relatives of the victim contacted law enforcement, suspecting Jacob's involvement in the victim's death, describing it as a Cain and Abel situation. They noted Jacob's long-life jealousy of his brother due to his success. About 3.5 hours later, relatives contacted police again, reporting that the victim's car, a Mercedes CL2, was in the driveway of Jacob's home in Kansas City, and that Jacob had left in a van and driven to a local McDonald's. Kansas City police were called to the fast food chain on reports of a disturbance and located Jacob and asked him to get out of his vehicle. Jacob cooperated with law enforcement and exited his van, placing his hands on the back of his head without being asked. While he was being taken into custody, a family member questioned Jacob about the death, but he remained silent, giving her a blank stare. Throughout the investigation, law enforcement officials discovered a selfie of Jacob at the exact location of the murder. A relative also told police that they had allowed Jacob to use their debit card, and after going through bank records, investigators say he had used the card at a Quickway gas station near the area where the victim's body was found. Additionally, surveillance footage from the gas station showed Jacob and the victim riding in the same car. During an interview, Jacob initially denied any knowledge of the killing. He later admitted that he stood behind the victim and shot him in the head, following a dispute over a girl. He claimed the firearm used was hidden in the attic crawl space of his home. Jacob was charged with second-degree murder and armed criminal action. He remains held at the Jackson County Jail on a $300,000 bond.